So, Shabbat Shalom, everybody. My first question, as Chazan, what is my job? All of the above. Someone has seen my job description from the search committee. Thank you, Michelle. Thank you. So, I'm glad people have a broad sense of what a Chazan or a Cantor's job is. Often, when someone asks, what does a Cantor do? The first thing people says is the Cantor sings. You know, I will tell you, we Cantors have had a very, very hard time somehow shaking this stereotype. The American Cantorate, which was really organized in the mid-1950s, spent millions of hours and countless resources promoting the ideals of the professional Chazan, as to include the full care economy of the modern synagogue: programming, membership outreach, teaching Torah, pastoral care, youth and adult education, music, etc. But 30 years later, in the 1980s, my Cantors Union came out with a promotional video entitled "The Cantor, More Than a Singer." It's lovely, right? Except for the fact that this somehow wasn't obvious after 30 years of work. Okay, fine, we'll get there. Let's fast forward another 30 years to about 2016. My fellow Cantors made another video, and what was the byline? Cantors, singing is just the beginning. Come on, man! Guys, I really hope it doesn't take me 30 years to convince you all that Cantors don't just sing, and that I don't have to spend money on an infomercial just to justify it. I confess, and you may be able to tell, I do sometimes sing. But let me shock you a little bit more. I don't actually think that singing is what my job is. My job is to pray. Now, what is the difference between singing and praying? It's a gute shaila, as we say. It's a good question. And not just a question that we have in this room. There's an old familiar adage that is attributed to St. Augustine, and it goes, he who sings, some of you musicians know this, he who sings prays twice. I know Mr. Pallet knows this. Yes, he who sings prays twice. Now, what does this mean? To me, it means that on one level, one's words are their own offering to God. One's prayerful, honest words. This is how the rabbis could think of our prayers in the place of sacrifices, right? But it also means that musically, we are offering up our second prayer, something of our essence, that the musical act itself, as Madonna might say, is like a prayer. Now, right now, I'm reading a book with my son, Georgie, and he can confirm it, about body language. And one of the things which he learned studying this book, which I also learned previously in Jewish summer camp, is about communication. Now, these statistics I'm going to give you were done, the research was done in the 50s, but it's still good decades later, and it is on the types of communication. There are three types of communication: your words, your tone, and your body language. So which do you think is the biggest percentage of our communication? Okay, I have hands for body language. Hands, you can show hands. Okay, I've got a decent amount for body language. Who says your tone of voice? Tone of voice. Some people are sensitive to tone. I appreciate that. That's where the music is. Thank you, thank you. And anyone say the words? Thank you. I'll vote for the words. Very good, very good. Well, the statistics go that body language is actually 55% of your communication. Your tone is 38%, and your words are only 7%. Isn't that interesting? Your words are only 7%. Well, if words are only 7%, then why is it so important that I mean what I say? I've got 93% left. But meaning what we say is perhaps at the heart of all communication. It's the foundation of trust between people. It's the foundation of our shared Western society. It's arguably the foundation of Judaism. After all, it's the words themselves that are in the Torah that are God's revelation. The Torah has neither tone nor body language, other than being a long roll of parchment on the table. We experience God's words through the portal of the text, of that 7%, enhanced somewhat, of course, by the tone, which is the Torah trope, to carry its essential message. Now, this elevation of words, this peculiar elevation of that 7% of meaning what we say, is part of the whole rabbinic ideal of prayer as well. On Rosh Hashanah, we're soon going to read the story of Hannah, in the opening of Sefer Shmuel, the book of Samuel. Hannah really wants to become a mom, and she goes to God's tent, to the Mishkan, to pray, and it is written, now Hannah was praying in her heart, but only her lips moved. But her voice could not be heard. Now Eli, the local priest, sees this, and he berates her. He says, shoo, because he thought she was drunk. He's a priest. He says, if you're going to be praying, isn't it supposed to be out loud? Where's the 93%? Where's the body language? Where's the tone? And you remember Eli is a priest, and the days of sacrifices, for that matter, where's the beef? Now, Hannah's prayer had no voice, only whispered words, just the sincere outpourings of her heart, no music, no movement. And yet, this non-dramatic, simple, honest communication is actually the foundation for prayer which Chazal, our rabbinic sages of blessed memory, made. During the Amidah, tonight, in about 13 minutes or so, we are supposed to speak just like Hannah. It's not actually the silent Amidah. It is the quiet Amidah, where you say, in a voice only you can hear, Baruch atah Hashem Elokeinu melech haolam. Because that, as the Talmudic custom goes, it's a whisper that only you and God can hear. In that intimacy of God, in that still small voice of our kavannah, our intention matters most. So the rabbis believe that if we are to have that honesty, that simple sincerity as regular people, then all the more so the people who we call chazan. And this is why I tell you that my job is not to be a singer, it's to be a prayer leader. And then like any good communicator, to muster my voice and body, the other 93%, in support of the essential message, the words of this liturgy. Now, people ask me a lot who my favorite cantors are. That's a typical question, right? Immediately, who's your favorite chazan? And I'm going to shock you again. My favorite cantors are actually not my favorite singers. Those are different categories. My favorite cantors are the people that I believe. That when they get up there and pray, that I believe them. One of my favorite cantors, if such can be said, is Rabbi Eben Leder. Rabbi Eben Leder is not trained as a chazan. He is, however, an incredible Torah scholar and shaliach tzibur. And it is not because of his vocal technique or depth of repertoire, although he is amazing and davens like a rock star, as many people say, but simply because he believes very deeply in what he is saying. I remember I heard him lead services for the first time in a sweaty, emotionally intense slichot in 2008 at Kehilat Hadar. Rabbi, I'm not sure if you were, we were in school at the same time. It was an independent minyan on the Upper West Side of Manhattan. Rabbi Leder was leading, and he was connected to the people and to his honest importuning of the Holy One. And I was mesmerized, not by him, but by the kavannah, the environment he created that became a container for my own honest prayer. Now, he came a few months later to JTS, where the rabbis and I studied, to teach about prayer leadership, and I was almost moved to transfer schools. He was at that time on faculty up in Boston at Hebrew College Rabbinical School. The faith, the Torah, the facilities of prayer leader that he had, I wanted all those things. Now, ultimately, I did not transfer, and I'm glad I didn't. If I had, I would have met my wife at the wrong time. That was 2008. We did not meet until 2012. I got that right? Good, I'm glad. Because I will confess to you that, like a bottle of wine, I needed to age for a few more years in order to reach maturity. But my experiences with Rabbi Leder and other spiritually motivated rabbis and chazanim and lay people remind me of what my job really is. My job in the synagogue, to me, is not to sing. It's to be a ba'al tefillah, to be a master of prayer, and to teach people to love it. That's certainly what I'm hoping to do in the religious school starting on Sunday morning, and in the preschool, and here in the synagogue as well. Don't get me wrong, the music does help. And when done right, you can hear the meaning of the words of the 7% through the tone and the body language of the music and the prayer. As I like to say to my cantorial students, you don't have to be a good murderer to play Macbeth. But you do have to be a committed Jew who loves what and to whom you are praying in order to be a good chazan. So if I look like I'm enjoying myself, that's probably why. Loving the words of prayer was one of the primary concerns also of Rabbi Abraham Joshua Heschel. In his essay on the vocation of the Chazan, he wrote, quote, "For all of its grandeur, there is something greater than music. At Sinai we heard thunder and lightning, but it was not the music of the elements, but the word, for the sake of which the great event happened. For the voice goes on forever, and we are being pursued by it. We have neither icons nor statues in our synagogue. We are not even in need of visible symbols to create in us a mood of worship. All we have are the words in the liturgy and the reverence of our hearts. But even these two are often far apart from each other. It is the task of music to bring them together." So over the next weeks, I'll tell you, when I come speak on Friday nights, which is every other week, as the rabbi said, I will try to take up my mantle. I know my tallis falls a lot, but I'll try to pick it up as well as my mantle as a liturgical educator and invite you into the world of kavannah, what the prayers mean and how they mean. And I hope I don't have to keep saying it, but my colleagues are indeed right. Singing is just the beginning.